You're listening to the Sky News Daily. I'm Sally Lockwood.
We're going for another round. Oh, 8 more. Super, mega, fantastic free spins. My favourite.
Yeah.
That is the sound of an online casino. Someone's playing virtual slot machines and streaming it to their followers. But they're not gambling hard-earned cash as you know it. They're using cryptocurrency to place bets. In some of these crypto casinos, gamblers are placing bets on an incredible scale. Hundreds of dollars at a time, even dropping hundreds of thousands in one go.
I remember watching the stream online and seeing a person get what you call a max win. So they'd won technically 5 million supposedly in one go.
Now, these crypto casinos are illegal in the UK. They're not allowed to operate, they're unregulated, and they can't advertise to UK citizens. Despite that, though, some British gamblers are finding ways to get onto these online crypto casinos, and they're losing a lot of money.
I've gone through my entire savings for 2 years in about the space of an hour and a half.
Sky News has uncovered how online streamers may be breaking UK gambling laws by promoting these sites. And there are questions over whether the casinos are doing enough to monitor that everything adheres to regulations. On this episode, I'll be speaking to our investigations reporter, Sanya Burgess, who's been covering this world of crypto gambling.
You're most likely to have interacted with a casino by maybe falling into one at the end of a night out. That's an actual bricks and mortar casino. Then you've got a virtual online casino. You might have seen them kind of advertised around football. Those are very straightforward, just normal, paying in pounds, betting, very straightforward. A crypto casino, their direct form of payment is cryptocurrency. So that's things like Bitcoin and Ethereum. They otherwise work pretty much the same. The key thing is that difference in currency.
Yeah, so a lot of us are familiar now with crypto. We've talked a lot about Bitcoin, but what makes gambling with Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies illegal?
So the UK takes quite a hardline stance on these casinos, and the kind of shortest version possible is to say that really they view these crypto casinos, they call them black market operators.
And even though they're illegal in the UK, people in the UK are being exposed to kind of advertising around these crypto casinos online, aren't they? And some people are also accessing them and gambling on them.
So, for example, one of the biggest crypto casinos is one called stake.com. Now, the thing with Stake is they have a UK-friendly, regulated, above-board, legal, normal casino that has all the things you would expect of a normal casino. So wager limits, time limits, very stringent ID checks. But they do also have a crypto casino, and that's what's also being advertised online. So, for example, I spoke to one British man, and he actually, as a viewer, came across these crypto casinos while watching his social media feed. It was pushed to him. From that, what he was able to learn from those streams, he was able actually, from within the UK, to get on one of these crypto casinos and start gambling.
Okay, and let's talk about him. His name's, well, we're calling him Zach. That's not his real name. You've protected his identity. So Zach came across what online that essentially enticed him into this world of crypto casinos?
So Zach had a problem with gambling for a long time. He finally got the courage and strength to try and put a block to that. So he signed up to GamStop, which is the UK's self-exclusion scheme. And they help you do things like put bank blocks on your phone, so you're not allowed to put deposits onto casinos. And they just kind of help you break away from that addiction and habit. He managed to kind of go clean for a few years. And then just one day, while he was idly scrolling through his social media feed, he saw a clip of a streamer or an influencer. So that's just a person who broadcasts themselves while they're playing one of these casino games. And they were winning huge sums of money, putting down huge sums of money. And it got him thinking, well, this is something a bit different. Maybe this is how you win. Maybe I was doing it wrong. And it just eked away at all those things that he'd worked so hard to kind of shut out and mute down. And from there, it wasn't good news.
I remember watching the stream online and seeing a person get what you call a max win. So they'd won technically 5 million supposedly in one go. And I start to think that now I've got all this money I've lost over years from gambling. And I kind of then just got this feeling that, like, why are they getting it? This is a better way to do it. And I ended up buying a crypto coin, thinking I'll have a go, just see if it's any different. And then before you know it, that single deposit turned into 10 within the space of a few hours. I've gone through my entire savings for 2 years in about the space of an hour and a half.
He had had this awful experience while gambling on the UK casinos, managed to put blocks in place and started rebuilding his life savings. Within an hour and a half, 2 hours, he had lost 10 grand because there are no wager limits, there's no time limits, and the actual kind of style of play that you see encouraged by these streamers is this, high wagers, high risk situation. I saw Zach's bank statement. You can see the money coming out and out and out. It really just hemorrhaged. He spent so much. And, this is someone that among his friends know him as someone that managed to beat gambling addiction. So even among his core support group, he felt too embarrassed to say what's happened. But going to look at somewhere like GamStop, for example, who had helped him before, they only really deal with the regulated market. And because the crypto casino world is black market operators, is what they call them, the infrastructure isn't there to try and help block him from going on them. These casinos are illegal in the UK, and there are actually digital blocks in place to stop you going on. If you type in stake.com, it automatically reroutes you to the UK one, or some of them just say, access denied, you can't go on this site.
But there's a way of circumventing that.
Exactly. The key thing there is a piece of software, basically. It's like a technical loophole that enables you to jump around those blocks. And he was able to find that because the streamers were promoting it.
Let's talk about the content that he saw online that coaxed him into gambling on a crypto casino.
There's a whole world. And, when I was talking to some of the experts that I spoke to while researching, the phrase that kept coming up was, it's a wild west. So you have these streamers. They're the sort of people that you might go onto YouTube or Twitch. They often have very young audiences, people who love watching video games being played online, and the presenters of those. These streamers basically broadcast themselves gambling on these crypto casinos. So the screen is quite chaotic. There's a lot going on if you've never seen one of these streams before. So imagine your computer desktop or your mobile phone, you've got a sidebar where everyone watching is chatting away, being like, gamble more, I want to see this, you're doing great. And then you've got the streamer as like kind of almost like a cutout to the side, and they're reacting to what's happening in the stream. They're giving their opinion. They're like, what should I do next? They're always talking with a lot of passion, a lot of excitement. A lot of them have a lot of charisma as well. It's actually very engaging. And then the main thing on the screen is actually a screen share where you, the viewer at home, can see the slots turning over, so you can see how the gambling's going.
And what I noticed, which I thought was really interesting, is you can see the emotional roller coaster of their reactions. So you see them getting really low when they're losing, then you see them looking ecstatic when they've won money. And I guess that can be quite gripping to watch. And one of these influencers who's promoting these crypto casinos online is Drake, right? People might have heard of him.
So we looked at Drake because, he's one of the most famous people in the world. He's one of the most streamed artists. He has something like 180 million social media followers, which is just bonkers. And he's very much become one of the main faces of this new era of gambling, this crypto casinos. But I would stress that we haven't found anything that he's done to be illegal or misleading. He's just a really good example of how prominent actually this craze has become.
Yeah. Oh! Set it up! Yeah! This is in honor of our 11. We said we're doing it tonight.
And he's got a very high-profile partnership with stake.com. He does things like, he does some of these streams himself where he does both online roulette as well as slots. And some of the money, the scale of the wagers he puts down is absolutely eye-watering. And the thing about having Drake doing some of these streams, it brings a whole extra level of glamour when you're watching it. He's at this kind of Caribbean villa. There are these palm trees waving in the background. He's sipping on shots and cocktails. When 11 comes up, these fireworks, real fireworks, not virtual ones, start exploding in the sky behind him. And it's a real event watching him streaming these crypto casinos.
You've discovered that a lot of these streamers and influencers are actually being given money to gamble by these crypto casinos.
For anyone who was in Zach's shoes and you're seeing this stuff for the first time, it looks like the streamer is using their own money, not least because, they're having these ecstatic reactions or depressed reactions. And it's not all streamers, but I did find that many streamers are basically being given money by the casino that they've partnered with for the stream. I spoke to 2 streamers who, again, did not want to be named. They were worried about backlash from the community from talking to me. One of them, for example, every day would have $75,000 put into his casino account just to gamble with. It did not matter if he won, it did not matter if it lost. Technically, it's real money, but it's just been given to him almost as credits to play with. As part of one of the ways that streamers can make money, they have these promo codes on the stream. And what they're trying to do is say, if you're watching and you like what you see, come have a gamble, use my code, you'll get some money off or some extra credit yourself. And then that streamer often will get a cut of that person's wages. So they get a commission. There's a financial incentive to turn viewers into gamblers.
Wow.
And when I spoke to Matt Gaskell, who is one of the leading kind of psychologists in this area, he's an NHS worker, and he said, fundamentally that's misleading because you're not having informed consent of your actions if that's what's inspiring you to go and gamble.
Some of the things that have been brought to my attention are concerning. I think the exposure to young people is an issue. It's a potential gateway into gambling. It doesn't appear to be fair. It doesn't appear that there's information that's above board that's given to consumers.
And they're also not being transparent about the fact that they're not gambling their own money.
Exactly. And that's what's so misleading, because you're looking at it, you're thinking, me and you are on parity. And actually, when I spoke to some people about why do you watch these? What do you get from it? They're like, I watch the same streamer night after night. It's like we're friends. But actually, although you're feeling this kind of intimate relationship with the streamer whose personality you're vibing off, they're not all being transparent about what they're playing with.
We'll take a pause there. After the break, we'll hear more about the harm this type of crypto gambling can do and what can be done about illegal online casinos. Of the experts that you've spoken to who work in this issue, in this area of addiction, what have they said to you about the problem and how this could impact it?
Well, what's quite interesting is within the pro crypto casino streamer world, a lot of people say, actually watching these streams helps scratch that itch. And some people say it helps them with their problem gambling habits. And, I've spoken to some individuals who said that it does that for them. While there is some limited evidence of that, actually the streams themselves, the noises, the colours, the bells and whistles, all the stimuli are pulling on the part of your brain that makes you trigger and want to go and gamble. And that is really of a high concern. And the other key thing when I was learning about this world is that the type of gambling, which is slots, is known as the golden goose of the gambling industry because the gambling industry just makes so much money off it. And actually, when you look into the small print of these things, they're actually, the slots themselves are always rigged essentially against you. They do it very clearly in the terms and conditions. So one slot, for example, might have a return of 96.38%. If you put £100 in, the theoretical return is £96.38p, and down and down and down. And that's why so much of the streams are geared around these online slots.
And what are the UK government doing about this?
So for them, this is something that they've already clearly dealt with in their eyes. And this year we've seen the new white paper, which is trying to bring gambling rules up to the smartphone era. And within that paper, there is mention of these casinos. They call them black market operators. And they say, basically, they're illegal. Don't go on them. You can't go on. It's black and white. But the people that I was speaking to, campaigners and people concerned about the issue, say, well, people are finding their way onto it anyway. So there's a bit of a debate over whether that's actually effective enough. But when I spoke to DCMS, the Department for Culture, Media and Sport, they said it's something they do take very seriously. Gambling's a key part of their policy, and they're looking to strengthen the powers of the regulator, the Gambling Commission, and that's another organisation that I went to with this. As a result of our investigation, Steve Barclay, the health sec, commended the work that we had done and what we had uncovered, and he highlighted how important the mental health aspect of this whole thing is, and the fact that they at the health department have been putting more resource into gambling addiction health centres.
Now, you contacted some of these crypto casinos. What did they say to you?
So first of all, Stake.com, who are one of the biggest casinos that we looked at, gave us a very thorough reply, really stressing that they take this seriously and they've launched their own investigation into our findings. They said, Stake is fully compliant with gambling legislation in the UK. Our product is for UK users. Stake.uk.com offers a fully regulated, fun and interactive gambling experience. We have received no inquiries from the Gambling Commission in relation to this broadcast. Stake.com does not accept UK customers. It is not possible to gamble on Stake.com from the UK, and we have industry-leading know your customer requirements and tools in place. Stake is committed to responsible gambling and takes the safety of its users very seriously. Stake is grateful for the material provided. We are currently investigating and will act swiftly on any contravention of our terms. We also heard from Twitch, one of the major streaming sites, and they told Sky News they've gone to significant lengths to reduce gambling content on Twitch and have banned a number of gambling sites from the service, including Stake.com. Twitch report that gambling viewership on their site has actually dropped by around 75%, and they've banned more sites since. We reached out to Kick, Drake, and a number of other streamers, and they didn't respond. But one British streamer did reply to us. He's a British streamer, but he streams legally from Malta. He says he believes his streams really help those who watch them, and that he works hard to abide by all the regulations and to make sure the right content is seen by the right people.
Okay, Sanya, thanks so much for taking us through all that. It's been fascinating.
Thank you for your time.
Well, that's it for this episode. You can watch Sanya's full report on the Sky News YouTube channel, and we'll see you next time.
From Sky News Podcasts.
People treat it as a joke, a juicy bit of gossip.
After the scandal which ultimately brought down a Prime Minister.
Mr. Pincher, what exactly happened in the Carlton Club?
We take you inside the corridors of power.
I felt someone grab my arse, and I turned around and this guy was just like looking right at me.
You know, basically, if it's not full-on rape, it's okay.
To hear the stories that people have been and still are afraid to tell.
You know, some of the most dangerous people are probably the last people that you'd ever suspect.
And why those accused often face no consequences.
They're relying on you, not fighting the machine in a way.
My biggest fear is if I don't speak out, he's going to be around forevermore.
The Open Secret, wherever you get your podcasts.